Hello and welcome back to Rage Gaming. My name is Hollow, and today I have 5 more brilliant Ashes of War that you want to consider for your end game builds. These are really good and I strongly recommend you consider them. So let's take a look at some of the best Ashes of War in the game. Whoa, hang on a minute. This isn't the gate front. Where am I? I can't be doing testing anywhere but there. Today, or in this moment rather, I am specifically here in the Volcano Manor to go say hi to a friend of mine. So the Ash of War I'm about to show you is called Prelates Charge. It's pretty easy to get once you reach the Giants region. And yeah, this is what it does. Ready? 1 hit, and then I hold it, and then I let go. 2 hit. And then I press it again, and then I 1 hit, and then I just hold it as long as I want, then let go. Are you seeing why I think this is a good Ash of War? It's ridiculous. So much stagger and raw power in one Ash of War. And of course, hilarious because I can kind of just charge around and set everything on fire at the same time. It has a really powerful uppercut, but then the first part is a big hit as well. This is just a great Ash of War, especially for the open world, and of course in PvP. And it's even better when you consider it on the Heavy Great Stars specifically. I was making a video about strength weapons. I mentioned this weapon being a great one-handed option for strength weapons. And yeah, what happens with this specific weapon is if you hit an enemy, you will get a bit of health back. So back where I belong at the gate front with half health, let's see how much it can do when I'm running through enemies and just running past them and healing. Oh my god, of course the fire on the ground, don't forget, does damage. So that just took me from half health to full health, just running through a pack of enemies holding L2. And again, the final hit is a big hit and huge poise damage. It doesn't even cost that much FP to use. And of course I can make it cheaper than what I'm currently running by if I put on a talisman that's going to reduce the amount of FP consumed by skills. So yes, Prelates Charge, very good for AOE, very good in combination with a proc-based weapon of any kind, and of course, it has ridiculous damage. And the fire as well, like the fire effect, you can't sleep on that. Putting fire on the ground, having enemies walk through it, that is also big. This is a nutty Ash of War in my opinion. Prelates Charge, here's where you get it. We're here in the mountaintops of the Giants. We have progressed around the main loop. You know, you have the main bridge. You lead this way. We come around through the Ice Lake, Frozen Lake, and come upwards. And eventually you're going to make your way to the White Ridge Road, Grace. And then we have the Guardians Garrison right there. The Ash of War is on a beetle that is actually kind of hanging out on one of these delightful, what do I call them, trees. So we just come up here, past the stairs on my right, and as I get about here, you're going to hear it, and up in this tree or totem or whatever it actually is the scarab, the beetle that you need to kill. As you can see, I just throw a dagger at it, which knocks it out, and then we kill it, and then there we go. We got the Ash of War. Super easy, super good Ash of War. Alright, for my next trick, I'm going to use the power of Holy Light and AOE and shoot some holy spells, and I'm going to do like a follow-up attack, and I'm going to do it all as an Ash of War attack, because this incredible, you would think, faith spell, right? So yes, as you can see, this incredible Ash of War called Golden Land has 2 effects to it. We have the slam, sorry, 3 effects, right? We have the slam, which is an explosion of holy light. Then we have the shots, the bolts that are coming out, and there's many of them in fact that are shooting out, and they home in on targets. And then we have the third part, which is the R2 follow-up with a big strong weapon like this hammer that is gonna hit pretty damn hard, isn't it? So let's go use it on our target dummy. I dub him Dave. I beat this guy up all the time for these videos, this poor guy. So he's probably gonna die on the slam, on the actual explosion, yeah. And then you have the bolts, and then you have the R2. Look at that. See how they home in on the body, on the target? It's pretty awesome. Let's try it in AoE, and then I'll go get a big target. So we set up the AoE situation. This is going to be interesting. So how it works, it's a little bit weird. I need to be targeting, you know, I need to be auto-locking on the target that I want the bolts to go to. If I don't do that, they kind of just go everywhere. So let's not target anyone and see what happens with the bolts. So here they are. They're just shooting out in random directions. It's not very effective. That's what I was saying. So let's say I run near a different guy, like this guy, but I'm targeting this guy in the back. So I don't want him to be hit by the AoE, but I'm targeting that guy in the back. Let's see what happens with the bolts. You see that? Do you see that? They aim and go for the guy in the back. There's a big target like this guy in the back. I'm going to target him, and the bolts should go straight to him. There you go. You see? So that's how the targeting's done. It's pretty cool. So here's the first hit. Then the bolts are going to come in. Oh my god. Okay, so the follow-up hit is very strong. The R2 that you get to do after that is nuts. Let's see if we can hit with just the bolts. See how much damage they actually do. So here they come. 1,200 damage from just the bolts. The explosion itself does 500, so the explosion's the lowest damaging part of this. And then maybe the R2 follow-up is going to be the highest damaging bit. I think this is a very strong spell. Of course, it has that little bit of hyper armor when you're doing it right about there. So the spell actually goes off. The follow-up is really, really impactful. I think this is a very strong PvP option as well. To get yourself Golden Land, then, you're going to have to come to the secret area, the Deep Root Basin, or the Great Waterfall Crest Grace. From the Grace, you just need to go forward and left. And on the hill ahead of me, right here, will be a beetle, as you can see. That beetle, when you kill it, is going to give you the Ash of War, and it really is that easy, that simple, and it's literally the first grace when you get to this area. It's just getting to this area takes a bit of effort. As I keep saying in these videos lately, we're going to need to go to Redmane Castle to get to this area. This is at the southern point of Caelid. It is a major area. You must go defeat the boss here, the Great Rune boss, and that fight takes place in this desert here. After you kill him, a world event will occur where a star will crash into the ground, and that will crash, creating a crater and a new area. This here at the south point of Limgrave is where you need to go to get to that crater. And then once you go into that crater and go down, you're going to be revealing the Nokron Eternal City area. This is what it looks like on your map once it's revealed. This is the starting point that you'll go from. You'll progress through this area to this boss fight here. Then you'll cross on this bridge, and then you'll come across this grace here at the Ancestral Woods. This is the Ancestral Woods grace. I'm going to show you a path that you just have to follow to get to the area we're going to. Once you reach this waterfall, there will be a duo boss fight, 2 giant gargoyles that you must defeat. Once you defeat them, you will unlock the grace here, and then we can progress to the area we're going to. Here is the grace at the back left side, at the west side of the area, and then you need to go over to this coffin and interact with it. Your character will get in it, and you will be raised up the waterfall. But yeah, once you get here to this grace, follow that path to the left, kill the beetle, and you get yourself this ridiculous Ash of War, which again, it's very effective in PvE, but I think is going to be nuts in PvP specifically. Next up then, we have a surprise one. Not a weapon Ash of War, but a shield Ash of War. This is the Golden Parry. And if I do it the other way, you can see if I slow motion this, there is a sigil around my character where the parry is occurring, and then there is a sort of wrapping gold line where I parry around that. It costs a little bit of FP to use each time, but what you're getting is a much better parry. You're much more likely to land a parry, and interestingly, that like yellow line is an increased radius at which the parry is going to go off. So say you're against a bigger enemy, say you're against a boss, your range at which you're going to be able to parry, since they're going to attack you from further away, can match that, and it's very, very useful. Not only does it look really cool, but it's going to be very, very useful in PvP, so I definitely recommend this one just based on the logic of it, but let's give it a try. Go on, please, Mr. Work with me. Thank you so much. Alright, cool. Best Ash of War. I did the parry, guys. Wow, look at that. Yeah, I swear they've changed parrying. This feels like a parry to me. I feel good about that. And yet, no, it's a semi-parry. It doesn't count as a full parry. It's almost like there again, I mean, that feels like a parry to me, and I've been parried for a while in these games. It just feels so much easier. So yeah, I do wonder if they've actually messed with the default parry and how that's changed. So an Ash of War like the Golden Parry is a really good bet to run on any shield where you're running a parry. It's just a parry, but better. Unfortunately, it's really easy to get once you've made it to the Altus Plateau region. So we are near the Outer Wall Battleground Grace or the Outer Wall Phantom Tree, but you need to come to here, and you're going to go up onto this sort of bit here to get a scarab. The scarab is going to be standing still up on my left. I'm just going to show you the way that we get up there without losing it. It's a pesky one. Basically, it's one of those rarer ones that doesn't run away. What happens is when you get too near to it, it just despawns instantly. So, to actually get the killing blow on it, you can either shoot it with a spell or a bow, I suppose, or as you see me do, I just go on the side here and crouch stealth and walk over and then just hit it with my melee, killing it, and of course getting our golden parry Ash of War. So there you go, on to the next one. Alright, I'm excited and concerned for this Ash of War because it's hard to talk about. The reason is because I don't want to spoil you because the location and where it's all from, but let me just explain. This is Hoarah, Loux, Earthshaker. We're talking about a hyper armor channel where I roar and slam, huge AoE, and then I press it again and another huge AoE. I get hyper armor during that, so it's quite hard to interrupt me. It is possible, but it is quite hard to interrupt me during that. And if you're blocking it, doesn't matter. It's literally unblockable damage. So this is a very, very good Ash of War when it comes to AoE potential. The damage is really good. And then also, yeah, in PvP, it's going to be really good if you can catch someone with it. I suppose once they see you do this raw, they're going to run away. But if you can catch someone out with this, the first time they're seeing it, they're not expecting it, you do it at the right time with a combo, that can be nuts. Let me show the kind of damage we're looking at. So hyper armor just means it goes through anyway. 1,132 on a little old AoE Ash of War. Then you consider that in an AoE situation against lots of mobs. Right, let's see if I can get it off. I believe the hyper armor comes when you actually get the roar off. So I want to give it some space. So now, and then boom! And another boom! 1,200 and 1,300 nearly on that guy. Like, this is serious damage for an AoE Ash of War. You know, we don't need faith. We don't need intelligence for this. We just need, I guess, the throat to scream loudly. Maybe stomp a little bit. That's got to be a top tier Ash of War AoE pick for sure. And its potential in PvP, because it's unblockable, is pretty high. I'm a huge fan of that. It's just difficult to talk about because, and I'm not going to spoil you. I'm going to do my absolute best not to spoil you. It comes from one of the last story bosses in the game. Hoarah Loux is a alternate name for a certain character, a certain main character. And to get this, you must defeat him. And then using the remembrance of that boss, you can get this Ash of War. So I'm going to give you the best non-spoilery answer to how you get to this boss. It is do the main story. And ultimately, you will come to Lindell, the royal capital, the Golden City, once and go through and do some story, and then you will come back to Lindell again and it will be different and it will have a new name that I'm not going to say, and you will know, let me just say, you will know, go towards the tree and you will find the boss that I'm speaking of. You cannot miss it. It is part of the main story. So yeah, I hope that was vague enough for you to hopefully not spoil in any way to get this beautiful AoE slam that has two levels to it. Honestly, it would be good with just a one. For our last Ash of War then, I am on my Madness build to show you not this Ash of War, which is tied to Vike Spear specifically, although that's really cool. I'm talking about Raptor of the Mists, which is actually this. A little crouch, a little dark effect, and some feathers just flying out of me. And as you can see, it costs no FP. So I can just spam this blindly, pressing L2 to my heart's content in fear. What this is a unique counter Ash of War. It's really interesting. This option is incredible for just raw iframes. It's got better iframes than a parry, that's for sure. And it gives you the opportunity to do a counter attack in the form of a leaping light attack or a leaping heavy attack. So, you know, in many cases, a plunge. Now let's get this guy to try and hit me. And then plunge. Now, this is a +0 weapon on a low level, you know, count, so I'm not going to one-shot these guys. But as you can see, really cool. Let me slow that down. Let me show you that again. I didn't lose any FP, and I completely avoided his attack by crouching and going under it. So in function, we have some really nice iframes on something that can actually dodge attacks without needing to actually be hit. So you can crouch down and go under the attack. And if they do hit you, you're going to get those iframes and then get a counter attack. Each counter costs 14 FP. And we can make this cheaper with the various talismans. And it's just a very reliable, easy to do counter / parry. And this was heavily requested and talked about by you guys on my first Ash of War video. So the problem with this Ash of War is it is tied to a specific NPC storyline and you can miss it, which is what happened to be on my main. That's why I'm on this second character. So to meet Hoarah for the first time when you're playing originally, you can come to Agheel Lake here in Limgrave and go to this ruin right here. Under that, you'll meet Hoarah. But that's all optional. What we can actually do is go here in this sort of stream or river on the side of Agheel Lake, and as we're progressing up it, you'll be invaded. And during that invade, Hoarah will actually come to your aid, and then progress north up the river to the next sort of ruin bit here, just under here in the dark. Hoarah will commend you and talk to you a little bit about what he's doing and why, and say that maybe he'll see you around. From that point onwards, you need to be in the lakes to get to the next step, and that is the last step we need to do for the Ash of War. We need to come to here, the main academy gate, which does of course require you to have the key to get inside. The key is here at these ruins right here behind the dragon, which is run up and grab them. Then at the South Raya Lucuria gate, we can activate this and be transported to the next grace, the main academy gate. Once we're here, what we can do is actually turn around and you see the sigil. You think, oh, I can't go that way. No, you can. You just walk straight through it. But about here should be a mark where we can help Hoarah with an invasion. We go in there, we help him kill the guy who is using the Ash of War that we're after, and the reward, of course, is the Raptor of the Mist Ash of War. But those are my 5 Ashes of War suggestions for some endgame potential. If you have found this video useful or helpful, please do drop a like so we can keep making more like this. I'm looking forward to making my madness build video at some point soon. But for now, I've been Hollow, you've been you. Thanks for watching.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.